All right, so this is Yukon News, your community connection. I'm actually making reference to the Yukon newspaper. Make sure when you go to the supermarket, you get yourself one because there are a lot of things you can only find in the Yukon newspaper. So do that. They also have a website, which is www.yukonnews.com. Go there and you can find more. I want to do the front page for you and then check if there are other couple of stories that might be beneficiary to you. Checking on our weekly update, fire crews doors abandoned campfire on island in Whitehorse. That is a story in page 4. And then when you check out page 5, it says collaborating. The Yukon Alaska cooperates on violence against indigenous women. I'm sure there's going to be a very good story. Maybe we can check it later on. And then this is a big one for immigrants who are in the White House. This one says some immigrant workers' sports restored after this year's cut. 67 Yukon Nominee program spaces reinstated. That is also a story in page 3. I will definitely check out on that story and then go through for you. When I look at this picture right here, it says that the keys to the newly built Yukon Gymnastics Center and Climb Yukon facility housed under the same roof in Whistle Bend were handed over to the Polarites Gymnastic Club and Climb Yukon on August 21st. Climb Yukon members present for the handover were clearly excited. So that's the story you can also check on page 19. Okay, so I would want to pay attention to the page 3 story. Ongoing advocacy gets territory 67 more Yukon nominee program spot. We all know that Yukon Nominee was at a point in time halted due to the number of people who were coming in and the capacity of the territory. And there's a latest update on it which I want to share with you. Remember making my reference from the Yukon News. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, has partially granted the Yukon government's request for more support in the Yukon Nominee program. A press release from the Yukon government on August 21st, 2025 announced that it received an additional 67 spots for the program, bringing the total number of allocations up to 282 for 2025. The press release credits the government of Yukon's ongoing advocacy to IRCC on behalf of Yukon employers. A spokesperson for the department called it welcome news. The YNP is intended to help employees fill job opening by bringing in foreign workers. Despite the Federation government slashing the number of YNP positions by half of 2025, signaling its general cutting down on immigration, the Yukon government had requested more YNP allocation, not less. The news has reported on hopeful foreigners who felt like they were being left in limbo and losing hope as a result of the cuts. During an interview with the news by phone on July 23, 2025, Premier Mike Pemberton decried the Federation government's sudden change, calling them unfair and arbitrary. With the unemployment rate at 3.9% at the time, Pemberton predicted the Yukon business will suffer with 6 months without a fix to immigration. Ranj Pialai, who is the former premier and current economic development minister, has also previously expressed being troubled by the Federation imposed reduction to Y and P. However, Pialai had hinted the territory could get more spots this year. In other stories, Yukon government considers changing mining oversight system. The Yukon government is considering moving mining oversight into the wheelhouse of Yukon Water Board. In a press release shared on August 4th, the government announced early work to increase the independence of the territory mining regulatory oversight. The release adds that the work is looking at how to make mining oversight more transparent. Senior government officials have been tasked with enhancing the independence and capacity of the Yukon inspection, enforcement, and monitoring system. Reads the release. This process will include engagement with frontline workers, Yukon First Nation, industry representatives, and technical aspect. You can go pick up the newspaper and read more about it. I can't do detail, but that's a story for you to take a look at. That's the Yukon government considers changing mining oversight system if you want to know more. Two other stories that was written by a reporter, Jim Elliott. This one has the headline, Yukon Federation of Labor pitches workers' compensation reform to Federation Minister. We're going to take a look at the two paragraph. This one says that the Federation Job Minister and the Yukon Federation of Labor are investigating a plan that could see workers' compensation for federal public service workers in the territory administered here rather than through Alberta as it currently is. Speaking with the news on August 6th while visiting Whitehall, Federal Jobs and Families Minister Panti Hajdu recounted a recent meeting with groups including YFL, where one of the points of discussion was change to federation legislation, which sees workers' compensation for federal employees in the territory administered by Alberta. And I guess workers' compensation is rather going to be done in Yukon instead of relying on Alberta. All right. We'll do this one as well. I guess this one will interest you. This is how the story goes. This one says that the Yukon and Alaska will share data on gender-based violence against indigenous people. Let's take care of the first three paragraphs. It says the government of Yukon and Alaska signed a cross-border agreement in Whitehall on August 12th to formalize commitment from both governments to improve safety for indigenous women and non-binary people, according to the Yukon government's news release. The Yukon and Alaska governments signed a memorandum to share strategies and networks that address violence against indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people, including sex trafficking, assault prevention, and community safety programs, according to the memorandum document. Officials from Yukon and Alaska began discussion on the services delivery, data collection, and violence prevention strategies after both parties signed memorandum, according to a Yukon government news release. All right, so this is how we end it. As and when the next newspaper is published, we will check on it and then look at some of the important stories in it and update you. My name is Kwame Ofer. You are listening to the latest update on Yukon Trends. Goodbye.